Hi, everybody. We just wanted to sit down together to talk about Jerry and why he wants to run for the South Carolina House and why he wants to represent the great people of Pickens County. We thought this would be a good opportunity since we can't get out in the community to talk with all of you. We thought this would be a great time to come together and talk about Jerry's background and why he wants to do this. So, Jerry, do you just want to kick it off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Allie. My name is Jerry Carter. I'm originally from North Carolina. My mom and dad, my dad was a highway patrolman, and my mother worked for the state health department. Lived there the early part of my life. I went to school in Wilson, North Carolina at Atlantic Christian College and received a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology. And I later did graduate studies at both East Carolina University and North Carolina State University in public administration. After graduation, I started working for the North Carolina Department of Corrections. I did that for 10 years, 5 as a probation parole officer, and then 5 as a case analyst for the Parole Commission. And then I moved to the North Carolina State Board of Engineers and Surveyors, where I worked with that agency for 17 years, 11 of which I served as their executive director. In 2001, I got the opportunity to accept a position with the National Organization for Engineers and Surveyors, NCEES, which is based in Clemson. So in 2001, I and my family, we moved to Clemson for me to assume the position as the Director of Corporate Affairs. I served in that capacity until 2007, and then was selected to be the Chief Executive Officer, where I served in that role until I retired in early 2019. So that's kind of a quick down and dirty of my personal career.
So, what parts of your background and your career, what aspects of that do you think that you can bring to the house? What parts of that do you think enhance your opportunity and ability?
Well, particularly my employment with the North Carolina Board of Engineers and then the national organization, I always served a constituency. I had licensees, I had state board members. I always had a group that I was responsible for and responsible to, and that numbered in the thousands. So I've had a great deal of history in trying to provide customer service, to be responsive to the constituents. Also, during my career in North Carolina with the Board of Engineers, I was responsible for serving the board in any matter that came before the North Carolina legislature regarding our Practice Act or anything related to occupational licensing. So I have experience in drafting legislation, in testifying before committees, in seeking out sponsors for bills, in developing administrative rules. So I know how the process works, and the South Carolina process is no different than the North Carolina process. So I have a complete understanding of how the sausage is made in terms of the legislative process.
That's true. That's an extensive background. Okay, so what issues, given the opportunity to represent us, what issues do you want to focus on? What about life in Pickens County are you trying to help make better?
Well, I think anyone who is pursuing public service at this point in time, if education is not the number one issue, it should be, and that I'm talking about our schools. It was there were issues that needed to be addressed before we got into the COVID issue, and now we've got a separate level of issues, and so it's going to make it even more critical that we have people who are pressing to make sure that our teachers get more money, that we get more resources. I'd like to see mental health professionals at schools, at least more than we have at the current time. I'm also very interested in our local community. Transportation is a big problem, which you would not think in some cases, unless you experience it on a day-to-day basis, that it was. But particularly in Clemson, the major thoroughfare, it's long outdated in terms of its capacity for handling transportation. So there needs to be some critical thinking about what to do to cure that in the future. In terms of the entire state, because you would represent the entire state as well as the district, I have personal knowledge of some of the issues with infrastructure, roads and infrastructure, and I'm talking about bridges and utilities and our underground water pipes and so forth, and in many cases they're antiquated. and that there is a potential for disasters, potential to have a mitigation of our clean water, to have runoffs into our lakes and our streams. There's just so many issues that should have been addressed long ago, and they really need to be put on the front burner, and somebody needs to take some action.
Yes. So, what and who inspired you to pursue this? I know public service is no stranger to you, but something probably lit your fire more recently.
Well, I think I've always had a willingness to serve. I was involved in a couple of civic organizations when I was in Raleigh. I was actually the president of a organization that had homes where they took in kids that had to be removed from their homes between 12 and 16 years of age. And I was a member of a couple of the Kiwanis Club. When I came to Clemson and accepted the job, I traveled and I traveled. I traveled worldwide. Domestically, I represented the organization all over the world. And because of the travel, I didn't have an opportunity to become involved and engaged in the community. Since retiring, I am now the chair of the church council for Clemson United Methodist Church. I have been certified through the Pickens County Family Courts as a guard ad litem, and I serve as an advocate for children who've been removed from the home. And I help, as you well know, my wife, Karen, is executive director of Clemson Community Care, and I have the opportunity to help out with that, particularly now where volunteers are not allowed to be at the building. So I have become a volunteer, which I've enjoyed. So it's just the ability to give back, and now I have the time to do it.
Yes, that is wonderful. And I think we've talked about doing more videos like this to talk further about the issues that you mentioned previously. So, given that opportunity, we can dive a little bit deeper into those. But I just think this is a great opportunity to connect with people, and I'm really glad that you're running. I am very happy and I'm excited to vote for you. And I am just anxious to get to the polls, and I hope everybody else is too.
Well, it would be an honor. I'm still humbled at the people who have already provided their support. We're at a point now we're putting signs in yards, and I'm getting contacts almost on the hour, which is very privileged to have people ask you to do that. But I'm humbled by that everybody's kindness and their willingness to support me in this process.
Of course. And if anybody has any questions about your campaign or the issues, they can go to elect Jerry Carter for House for State House
For statehouse.com.
statehouse.com.
Yeah.
So be sure to do that and follow Jerry Carter for State House on Facebook so you can stay up to date for anything coming from the campaign and anything new that Jerry is sharing with you guys. I look forward to more conversations like this. And when is the last day to register for absentee ballots?
That's I should be able to tell you that, but I'm not. I'm confused because the last day to actually change your registration so you can vote what is tomorrow, May 10th.
Okay.
I think you can, for absentee balloting, up to the day before the voting, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
But I would tell there's the Pickens County Board of Elections, and I would suggest people contact them or go on to scvotes.com. And
.org.
.org, you're right.
.org. Yeah.
And they have the information for just about any race you'd ever be interested in.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, we will talk soon.
Thanks.
Thank you.